A useful editing feature is the slide node function. I will click the right mouse button for the menu and then click the slide node function with the left mouse button. This function keeps the link of a polyline in its current orientation and position, but it allows one of its two nodes to slide. Every link in a polyline has two nodes, and whichever node is closest to the mouse when you click the button is the node that is going to slide. You do not let the mouse hover over a node. Rather, you put the mouse over the half of the line that you want to move, and the node at the other half will remain stationary. For example, I'll let the mouse hover over this half of the link, click the left mouse button, and notice which node is sliding. I'll click the left button when I'm finished. If I want to move the other node, I let the mouse hover over the other half of the link, and then I click the left button, and now I can slide that node. If I now click the link that it is joined to, I can slide the node along that link. The slide node function is especially useful for fixing sloppy drawings that look good on a piece of paper, but when you zoom in closely, you find that there are gaps between the lines and arcs, or there are lines and arcs that are crossing over one another. One of the reasons that drawings are so sloppy is because some people are drawing lines that have a thickness to them. For example, when these three lines are drawn with a thickness, they appear to be touching each other. But if you take away their thickness, you can see that there is a gap between two of them, and the other two are crossing each other. An easy way to fix sloppy drawings is to use the slide node function. Put the mouse near the node that you want to move, and then click the left mouse button, and then slide that node over to the other line. When the mouse touches the other line, MillWrite causes the crosshairs to jump to the intersection point. And the crosshairs move back to the mouse when I move off the line. You can also see this by looking at the XY coordinates at the lower right corner of the screen. When you see the crosshairs jump to the intersection point, click the left mouse button to terminate the slide function, and now that line is exactly at the intersection point. Now you can slide the other node. As soon as you touch the other line, the crosshairs jump to the intersection point. Now those two lines are touching one another. You can use this slide node feature with arcs as well as lines. For example, here are two arcs that should meet at their intersection point. Just click near the node that you want to move, and then when you touch the other arc, the crosshairs jump to the intersection point of the two of them. Then you can do the same operation to the other arc, and now both of them are exactly at their intersection point. The make parallel function is useful for making lines parallel to one another. After selecting the parallel function, I will click the upper half of the black line, and then I'm prompted to select the line that I want it to become parallel to. Notice the message on the right side of the screen. Every line has two nodes. One node will remain stationary and the other will rotate around it in order to make the line parallel. The message reminds you that the node that moves is the node that was nearest to the mouse when you clicked the line. In this case, I clicked the upper half of the black line, and so the lower node will remain where it is, and the upper node will rotate around it to become parallel with whatever line I select for it to become parallel to. I will click this blue line. Now the black line is parallel to the blue line. When making lines parallel, you have the option of specifying a distance between them. When you specify a distance, It does not matter which half of the line you click because both nodes must move in order to put the line a certain distance away from the other line. For example, I'll click the red line and then type 1.5 to specify an offset distance of 1.5 units. The prompt at the top of the screen tells me to click the line that I want it to become parallel to, so I will click this blue line. MillWrite moves the red line so that it's both parallel to the blue line and separated by a distance of 1.5 units. To measure the distance between these lines, I'll click the right mouse button and select the measure function. Then I'll click anywhere on either line to start the measure function. I need the perpendicular distance between the lines. As the message along the right side of the screen says, I can press S on the keyboard for the snap menu, or as the menu buttons show at the lower left corner, I can click the middle mouse button to bring up the snap menu, and then I can select the perpendicular option, and then I can click anywhere on the other line. The right side of the screen shows that the distance is exactly 1.5 units. The function to make a line perpendicular operates in the same manner. I will click the right mouse button and select the Make Perpendicular function. Now I will click the lower half of this red line, and I am prompted to select the line that it is going to be perpendicular to. I'll click anywhere on this black line. The lower node of the red line has now rotated around the upper node in order to become perpendicular. The extrude link and the slide link functions are not easy to describe. It's easier to watch what they do. I am extruding this line, and you can see that the geometry on both sides of it remain in the same orientation, but adjust their length in order to remain attached. When I slide a link, the link remains exactly the same length, but it shifts its position. If I slide an arc, it slides around its center point. When you want a particular line segment to be exactly horizontal or vertical, you can use the straighten link function to move one end of the line so that it becomes horizontal or vertical. For example, these three black lines are at arbitrary angles. The straighten link function is the easiest method to make those black lines become horizontal or vertical. The straighten link function operates in a similar manner as the parallel and perpendicular functions. Specifically, you click near the node that you want to move, and the other node will be the stationary pivot point around which the line rotates. The mouse icon will change to either make horizontal or make vertical, depending upon whether the line is closer to being horizontal or closer to being vertical. The mouse is hovering over a line that is more vertical than horizontal, and so the mouse icon changes to make vertical. Notice that when I click the left mouse button, the line rotates around its other end to become vertical. Since this line is one link in a polyline that consists of three line segments, the line that it is connected to becomes longer, but it remains in the same orientation. I will undo that operation and then turn on layer 2. I put a dotted line on layer 2 to show you what the black line will become. You can see that it is vertical, but it is also shorter. If I use the slide node function, you can see that the upper node is at the intersection of the connecting line. I will press the escape key to cancel the slide function. There are shortcut keys for both the vertical and horizontal functions. Specifically, let the mouse hover over the line and press the V key to make it vertical, or the H key to make it horizontal. I will let the mouse hover over this black line and press the V key to make it vertical. Now I will turn on layer 3 to show you where I want the black line to move to. I will select the straighten function and let the mouse hover over this end of the black line. Since the line is almost horizontal, the mouse shows Make Horizontal. I will click the left mouse button to make it horizontal. I could also have pressed the H key on the keyboard. That line then rotates around its other node to become horizontal, and now I have a 90-degree corner between those two links of the polyline. I will undo that and then click the other half of the black line to show you what happens when you click the other half of the line. That half that I clicked on rotates while the other node remains stationary. I can now click the third black line, and now I have another 90-degree corner.